in every way.
It's 2 days to the Joy News National Dialogue on Defending Media Freedom ahead of the December polls. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi. We are on Love 99.5 FM. Affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We're on Bishara Radio in Tamale. We're on Sky FM in Sunyani, Radio Freed in Nandom. We're live on myjoyonline.com. We are live on X Spaces on Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrol Sol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. This afternoon, Ghana National Fire Service commences investigations while bringing under control a fire that engulfed part of the Job 600 building in Ghana's Parliament.
Our aim now is to get the fire confined. After the fire is confined, then we know how to extinguish it so that the fire does not travel to other unaffected rooms.
I'll take you live to Parliament where MPs and ministers at a committee meeting have been evacuated. Also, peasant farmers criticise the government's plan to ban grain exports, calling it a premature and misguided approach to tackling the nation's looming food security crisis.
I think that the process to do that was not consultative to ensure that farmers don't suffer the adverse effects of the impending ban.
Minority in Parliament demands transparency from the government, warning that funds allocated for the crisis could be diverted into private pockets.
We are going to inject additional 8 billion. We are scared that this is just another avenue to repeat what happened in COVID-19 support from the global community.
We'll take a quick tour of some affected regions in the country. 6 teachers and invigilators arrested by the West Africa Examination Council for various exam malpractices across the country in the first week of the WASSCE examination.
They were able to pick up a number of them. In fact, it's overwhelming. I mean, if you look at the numbers. In terms of teachers, so far we have about 6 of them who have been picked up for various offenses. The candidates are a lot.
And their sports.
We'll bring you up to speed on the ongoing Ordinary Congress of the Ghana Football Association.
And what would you do if you are awakened in the middle of the night by the 77 gods of Cape Coast?
I was asleep one day and I heard a knock at my door. I got up, opened the gate. The question I was being asked by the spirit in there.
The spirit was at your door?
With the fetish, the priest.
You want to stay for details as we prepare for the 60th Ogwa Fitu Afashe celebrations this weekend. That and more here on the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu. And this is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Many thanks for staying on. Let's dig in and start off from Parliament. That fire situation that engulfed part of the Job 600 building in Parliament. The Job 600, we know, serves as offices for members of Parliament as well as the parliamentary service staff. The cause of fire is yet unknown, and we're told that MPs, ministers and staffers who were engaged in parliamentary business have all been evacuated from the entire Job 600 building. I'll take you live shortly and interact with my colleague, Parliamentary Affairs Correspondent Kweku Asante, who witnessed the situation. But first, let's bring in a member of Public Affairs Department of the Fire Service, Alex Kinnate, joins us on the line with further updates on this situation. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Kinnate. So really, can you tell us what exactly transpired?
So thank you for having me. So as it stands now, we've been able to successfully douse the fire. It took our men a bit over an hour, 1 hour 15 minutes to totally douse the fire, and luckily we were able to prevent any casualty as I speak to you right now. So we contained the fire to just the affected room, and as it stands now, I can confidently say that the fire is totally doused.
And what's the extent of damage, you'd say?
The room, it contained one room that housed a lot of papers. So the extent of damage is that room within the Job 600 that was badly affected. and we are currently salvaging and overhauling just to make sure that there's no room for reignition.
And salvaging, you say, what would you say we've lost in this particular process?
It will be documents, but once we are done salvaging, that's when we'll be able to give the right information as pertaining to the extent of or the kind of things that got damaged in the fire.
And we're hearing that you're commencing an investigation. What exactly are you looking for in this investigation?
One, we'll be looking for what could have started the fire. Obviously, looking at the contents of the room, there were a lot of combustible materials in there, the document, which was probably the reason why the fire got out of hand. So we'll look at what might have started the fire, and then we'll be able to make our recommendations going forward.
But from what you see so far, we are not able to tell or hazard a guess as to what exactly may have been the cause.
Your call has been put on hold.
I wouldn't want to preempt.
Your call has been put on hold.
Realize that it's a room full of books. So obviously we're done with overhauling. Overhauling has to do with, or salvaging, has to do with being able to unravel everything, and then it helps in our investigation. And also, as I said, to prevent any room for reignition.
Okay, we are grateful. That's Alex Kinnati, there's a member of the Public Affairs Department of the Ghana National Fire Service, on the situation that occurred at the Job 600. We are told part of the Job 600 building, which serves as offices for MPs and then as well as parliamentary service staff, was engulfed this morning in fire. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante is also on standby for us from the scene. So Kweku, we are told about this particular part of the Job 600. At least paint a picture for us about which part exactly was engulfed in this fire.
Well, Emefa, so for those who are very familiar with the Job 600 in Parliament, it's a 12th floor building at the heart of the precincts of Parliament. And in fact, if you enter the first and second floor, between those two floors is what is called the mezzanine floor. It is used as offices. Sometimes it also stores a bunch of the documents and archives in Parliament. That is the understanding we are getting, that is the part that had a lot of combustible materials that they caught fire, and the fire service is now trying to get the things under control. In fact, the two fire officers just confirming that things have been put under control, and they're just trying to ensure that the situation does not recur. It was about 9:30, almost 10 o'clock. The Government Assurance Committee was sitting. Okujita Black was chairing that committee. Kojo Ponkuma, the Minister for Works and Housing, was expected to appear. And in fact, he was in the building when the news came in, with officials rushing there, forcing members of Parliament and staff to go out because the building had caught fire, and they did manage to move everyone outside to safety to try and evacuate everyone from the building. In fact, as of now, no confirmation has been given in terms of what is the specificity of the damage that have been caused. Media men have not been allowed to that particular area. All that part has been cordoned off. 3 fire tenders, in fact, had to take care of this fire, telling you the big nature of the situation, for which reason 3 fire tenders had to come in to deal with the situation. One just left. In fact, they brought another tender full of water to try and support the situation here. We have been speaking with the Greater Accra Regional Commander of the Ghana Fire Service, who have been giving certain overview as to what exactly they will be looking right now that they've been able to put the fire under control.
What we are saying now is fire that has affected one of the rooms. It is like a storeroom because we have some storage items there. So our aim now is to get the fire confined. After the fire is confined, then we know how to extinguish it so that the fire does not travel to other unaffected rooms. If we would know what actually caused the fire, then it will be after our firefighting. But at the moment, the situation is very calm. It's very controlled now.
So is the place safe for staff to work?
No, it is not safe now because we have to extinguish the fire totally. So after extinguishing of the fire, that is when we can come out with all other things. Initially, we saw a flame, so we assumed that was the start of fire. It's been tackled. The place is very smoky now, so it is difficult for us to come out with anything.
Well, Kweku, that was earlier. That's the Greater Accra Regional Commander of the Ghana National Fire Service. You mentioned that the fire started around 9:30 a.m. We're told now that it's been brought under control. Does it mean that work can go back as usual?
Not at all. In fact, members of parliament as well as staffers are not yet allowed into the Justice 100 building because that place is still cordoned off. The fire service tender is still on the scene, trying to ensure that everything is clear. In fact, before the fire service gave us an update, there was speculation that this might have been caused by an electric fault of a sort. And so we understand that ECG officials are also coming in to try and address the situation, to try and see that there are no wires that are exposed, there are no naked fires that can be ignited in the next few hours. And then if they do give the clearance, members of parliament and their staffers can now go in and then probably get their documents and their bags and other personal belongings and then leave. We do not expect that as of today there will be any serious business to be done within the precincts of parliament. In fact, that assurance committee meeting that was ongoing has been put on hold. The Western Housing Minister has just left. The Interior Minister, who was also around, has also left. We understand they are trying to ensure that everything is really up to the shape that it was in prior to this fire before normal work will resume in Parliament.
Okay, but from your estimation, though, how long did it take for the fire service to bring the situation under control?
Well, just about 15 minutes after we got wind that the fire was blazing in that particular part of the building, the two fire tenders came in. It did take them up to an hour before we were getting an indication that they had brought the fire under considerable control. Even at that point, more fire tenders had to come in, and just about 30 minutes ago, the chief fire officer finally confirming to us that the fire has been doused. If you do the calculation, that brings you to about 2 hours totaling before the fire service was able to get things under control.
That's Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante there. We have live pictures on the Joy News channel, also on Joy News, that's myjoyonline.com, and of course on our social media platforms as well. Now let's focus on agriculture, and effective today there's a total ban on the exportation of grains in Ghana, and security agencies have been deployed to the country's border town to enforce the ban. This is in response to the ongoing dry spell that has devastated agricultural production in up to 8 regions. According to the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Brian A. Champong, this measure will ensure food security within the country.
So earlier on, I talked about those at risk being 928,523. The 435,872 are those that have been confirmed as affected as at 20th August, and the audit is still ongoing. With the projected shortfall in grain supply, government will tap into the ECOWAS grain reserve and partner with the private sector to bridge the gap. Government will also bring in 300,000 metric tons of maize and 150,000 metric tons of rice to provide food support to vulnerable farmers who have lost their crop and also for the market. Additionally, we will bring in a total volume of 26,000 metric tons of poultry feed to directly support the poultry industry as maize, their main raw material, has been severely affected.
Well, we've been hearing from the Defense Minister, Dominic Nitiwo, who is also confident the deployment of the military and police will help strictly enforce the ban.
The security agencies are immediately activating their network to ensure that the ban on cereals, which has been listed, are regularly enforced so that nobody will take even a single grain out. We have the approved routes and the unapproved routes. About 80% to 90% of all exports pass through the approved routes. And so I just want to assure you that already we have a lot of security personnel from today to ensure that no truckloads of grains will leave Ghana across to anywhere.
And that's the Defense Minister, Dominic Nitiwo, there with that assurance. In all, about 871,000 hectares of farmlands in these 8 regions are affected by the dry spell, resulting in an estimated revenue loss of 22 billion cedis, representing 10% of the agricultural GDP. Here is a farmer in the Bono East region on the impact.
On the 26th of last month, I came and saw this, my farm. Please, I nearly fainted. So then I've been sick. Even I traveled to Accra that day. When I went to Accra, the next day, I was sent to hospital. Now I have a very big stress because I don't know how I am going to recoup that 200,000 or 200,000 plus, and how to reinvest. Because if I'm unable to clear this and then save the land, suppress the weeds, it means that this weeds will become something that we cannot control, the fire from entering. So I will lose everything. The least we talk about it, the better for us. Now, anybody who sees this farm, this vast land, over 100, acres. So definitely that would have gone to Techiman market. It's not going.
Well, that's a farmer there interacting with us about the impact that this dry spell has had on his business. Also, government has announced 1,000 cedi per hectare, measure or support for these farmers or affected farmers. But the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana want transparency. They also say the ban will not help address the problem. Here's Executive Director Bismarck Tete.
I think that the approach is a bit premature in our opinion. I think that the process to do that was not consultative to ensure that farmers don't suffer the adverse effects of the impending ban. This is not the first time government has tried to announce the ban on cereals, especially maize and soya. And you realize that anytime these bans are announced, the effect is that farmers suffer low prices. Because what this ban does is that it limits the number of buyers who are available to buy produce from farmers. And what it does is that farmers are now being compelled to sell at low prices, which do not make up for their cost of production.
Well, we've been hearing from the Deputy Ranking Member on the Food and Agriculture Committee, Godfred Seidu Jasso. He wants government to be transparent in the implementation of the policy.
We are given and provided an implementation and a disbursement plan that we are convinced that money's disbursement is supposed to tackle the food insecurity situation that we are facing now. But when you start with saying that you are banning food exportation, you see, we don't even have exportation of the grains as we speak now. We are not exporting maize. We are not exporting rice. We are not exporting soya. So what are you banning? What is the implication of these policy measures, or if you like, this soldier man kind of measure on our food security situation? We are importing tomato from neighboring countries. We are importing onions from them. Now, the same drought has been occasioned in those countries as well. Just imagine a situation where they decide to also write and ban the the exportation of these to our country. Do you know where we will be? When we have evidence that you've already injected 3.2 billion, and this is where it has brought us, you are going to inject additional 8 billion. We are scared that this is just another avenue to repeat what happened in COVID-19 support from the global community.
That's the Deputy Ranking Member on the Food and Agriculture Committee, Godfred Seidu Jasso. Let's take a quick look at the situation on the ground. Let's start off from the Upper West region. Rafiq Salam joins us with the situation. Let's talk about how farmers are receiving this particular intervention by government.
Emefa, the reaction from farmers in the Upper West region is mixed. While some are commending government for that decision, others are also thinking that it's a lip service. It's much ado about nothing, because considering a hectare of land, when you are the cost of even farming a hectare of land, the least you expect is about 4,000 Ghana cedis. And so 1,000 Ghana cedis for a hectare for them is peanuts.
That's Rafiq Salam there. Let's check on Martina Bugri in the northern region. Martina, I understand you saw some rains last night. What's the situation there?
Well, the rains have started coming in, and some farmers want to give it a try again. They want to plant and see what will come out of it. But on what government has just rolled out to implement, they believe that it's a good plan, but the implementation they doubt, because they said the planting for food and jobs.
Apologies there. We just lost my colleague Martina Bugri on the line. Let's focus on education now. And the West Africa Examination Council, WAEC, has revealed that a total of 6 teachers and invigilators have been arrested for engaging in various exam malpractice activities across the country in the first week of the ongoing WASSCE. Well, Head of Public Affairs at WAEC, John Kapi, says the 6 arrested were seen writing answers for candidates and other infractions.
Well, so far we have picked up in some of the areas where we found out or were told that they wanted to collect money and then assess the candidates. We realized that there have been a lot of, we sent our monitors around that there were actually widespread examination malpractices. They were able to pick up a number of them. In fact, it's overwhelming. I mean, if you look at the numbers, and basically it's about them having foreign material on them, and then in some case there's a report about them writing on the board for the candidates to copy. So we've picked up all of that, and then all those involved will certainly be punished according to the rules governing the examination.
In the Ashanti region, 2 candidates failed to participate in the WASSCE at Sewa Nyako Senior High School. Assistant headmaster of the school, Reverend Richard Benson, says attempts by the school to reach the candidate have not been successful. There's more in this report.
792 candidates registered for this year's WASSCE at Sewa Nyako Senior High School. Assistant Headmaster Reverend Richard Benson says no examination malpractice has been recorded yet.
More practice for now, recorded more practice. We
haven't recorded any malpractice yet, but we realize the students are moving out frequently during the papers, so we had to restrict them. But 2 candidates have been absent for no reason.
92, 3 are absent, so we have 789. 3 no, Bako Echukwanko Amanani. Nah. The other 2 no.
1 has traveled and the other 2 we do not know why.
Until after this exam,
Joseph Obey's reports for Joy News.
And we'll take a quick break here on the Midday News live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. It's 2 days. We're getting ready for the Joy News National Dialogue on Defending Media Freedom. The Midday News is supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. We return from the break with sports and what would you do if you are awakened in the middle of the night by the 77 gods of Cape Coast.
I was asleep one day and I heard a knock at my door. I got up, opened the gate. The question I was being asked by the spirit in there.
The spirit was at your door?
With the fetish, the priest.
And we're getting ready for this year's Ogwa Fetu Afashe. Do stay with us.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah.
Here's to the friends who dialed star 712 hash and found no regrets. To the investors who struck gold. To the health workers who diagnosed luck with precision. To the tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. To the passionate fan who couldn't contain his joy. To the seamstress who turned her hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, here's to you. Your next big win is right here.
Luck is everywhere, for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Dial star 712 hash. Now join in the luckiest winning celebration. Every 1st July 2024. Over dial star 712 hash. Now I can to take it through as a group, individual, and now even as a community. Now win is the car prizes are in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with star 712 hash. Now join in the winning streak now.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a Petrosol station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
Get way more chances to play with Betway. Every week, you have the choice to pick your prize, from payout boosts to cashback, all so you can make the perfect sports bet. Plus, you also stand a chance to choose your own prize, from vouchers to electronics and the grand prize of an airline ticket. All this exclusive to Betway. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Bet responsibly. Betway. Get way more.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's do sports now.
Thank you very much, Emefa. So the Ghana Football Association is currently holding its 30th Ordinary Congress at the Ghana Soccer Center of Excellence in Pram Pram. One of the major topics of discussion is finding solutions to the low attendance at various match venues. Here's GFA boss Keto Kreku.
We have themed today's Congress, winning the 12-man, fixing the fundamentals, and consolidating our games. This is in recognition of our responsibility to make our game attractive for the fans of football, without whose patronage our game is meaningless. For it is these very fans who throne our match venues and consume the products and services we offer. We certainly owe it to our beautiful game to continue our efforts to make the game attractive to our fans and all stakeholders. Hence the theme for this year's Congress.
Yeah, Emefa, so quickly before I go, striker Edin Nketiah has joined Crystal Palace from Arsenal for £25 million. Meanwhile, Manchester United, your darling club, they've also agreed a €50 million fee with PSG for midfielder Manuel Ugarte. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mubarak. Now, the NDC minority in Parliament says it is still opposed to any plan to turn the Ghana card into a voter ID or make it the sole identity document to register to vote. The Electoral Commission had tried and failed on several occasions to pass a new CI to this effect. Appearing before the Assurances Committee of Parliament, Executive Secretary of the NIA, Professor Kenneth Atefua, suggested it was time to make that plan a reality because they had registered enough Ghanaians.
Until every single Ghanaian who is entitled to register has been registered, or who has registered has been issued with the Ghana card, then the Ghana card cannot be used for other purposes such as elections or school enrollment or whatever it is. I think we ought to be able to respect a certain quantum as significant enough.
Well, by the chairman of the Assurance Committee, Samuel Okujetua Blakwa, insists his party will never allow that until every single eligible voter has been enrolled.
Voting is a constitutional right. Every Ghanaian has the right to vote. So if there's any impediment, that's the view we take. If there's any impediment, once the person doesn't have the base document, if we want to use the national ID card, let's make sure all of them have it.
Now, what would you do if you are awakened in the middle of the night by the 77 gods of Cape Coast? Did you say, huh? Well, this was the predicament recounted by the paramount chief of the Ogra traditional area as he calls for Ghanaians to reconnect with traditional beliefs. Speaking exclusively to Super Morning Show host Kojo Yangsing in the run-up to the 60th Ogwa Fetua fascist celebrations in September, Osabere Makwesiata II highlighted the natural connection which he says has always existed between Ghanaians and our ancestors, stating that they are all around us.
I mean, once you have sworn in as the chief, all of them know you. I'll tell you a story. Just across the road here, the shrine of one of the Mafo company, Asafo, is just in Kum. It's just located here. I was asleep one day, around 11 p.m., 12, thereabouts, and I heard a knock at my door. I got up, opened the gate. The question I was being asked by the spirit in there.
The spirit was at your door?
With the fetish, the priest. To come and ask me, if it rains, am I safe, or does the rain fall on me when I'm in the... I said no. Why have I left him to be where he is with the rain beating him?
What did you do?
I had to apologize. And the following day, I had to call the Supi for us to go and put something, a covering on where he was.
That's Osabere Makwesiata, the second there, in that interaction with my colleague Kojo Yankson. We are getting ready for the Ogwafi to Afashe celebrations. It's the 60th. It's starting from this weekend. All roads lead to Cape Coast. We are there for the Ogwafi to Afashe. MNJ, are you coming?
Yes, I am. I'm on my way.
Yes,
I've already started packing, by the way.
What are people saying on social media?
Well, Job 600 is trending, and Kobison says that jobs know the country inside. Building where them name after job to the Ben. Oh, Ghana. And apart from Job 600, it looks like Stonebwoy is not giving up. You remember we spoke about something last week where there was a post on the Grammys and Stonebwoy was calling out the Grammys. But this morning, there's a video trending. Let's take a listen to that.
Then what is Samini doing in there if their style is contemporary? What is Shatta doing in there if their style is contemporary? What is Sonny Bali doing in there if their style is contemporary? Is my style not contemporary enough to be mentioned as even the current artist of the year? Are we writing in the past? I'm confused. There's a lot of questions I want to ask and I want to know also. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Right. That is what I am standing for on behalf of Stonebwoy, speaking the truth and saying no. This is the vibe.
Yes, so and you know, Shatta actually responded and said, yes, your style is contemporary, but the article is talking about pioneers of that style. So it's like a back and forth between them. Stonebwoy is throwing shades on X. He says that the torture is torturing them.
Okay. well, let's get out of here. We have Living Word with Pastor Ben Saltable coming up next. The Principle of Gathering, episode 6. I am Emefa Apawu. There's more when you log on to myjournalline.com. Have a good afternoon.